Hello, everyone, and welcome to D2C Dialogues. Today, we have with us Vineet Khanna, co founder and CEO of this pet food brand Supertails. Their LinkedIn profile goes like this: Supertails is building a digital pet care platform which offers expert led healthcare services and products. We offer online vet consultations and products across the categories of food, accessories, grooming essentials, and toys for dogs and cats. Welcome to D2C Dialogue, Vineet.
Hi, Dr. Hitesh. Pleasure to be here.
Good. The first question that comes to my mind, being an engineer from a very reputed institute and worked with various organizations of repute, including Tata. What made you jump into entrepreneurship, and how this concept and or idea of super tails come in your mind?
So, Dr. Hitesh, as is true with any entrepreneur, when you have a theory and it plays out in front of you, it is very tempting and difficult to not pursue it. So, we had this theory that, whenever the GDP per capita of a country rises, people tend to spend more on themselves. But what was happening interestingly in India was that alongside that, people were marrying later. So, the marriages were getting delayed. Additionally, the fertility rates were dropping both for behavioral reasons as well as biological reasons. Now, if people are having money, they are marrying later and they're having lesser or kids later in their life. Interestingly, all of us as humans are slaves to our hormones, and oxytocin is one hormone which stems from companionship that you get from a human relationship, whether from a spouse, a partner, or kids around you. Now, with all these happening, the next best thing to fulfill these hormones are pets or animals. So we said that in India, then this category is not going to grow just by some trend or pattern, but it is going to grow by design. Now, this was a theory we had. We call it the oxytocin theory. But interestingly, when COVID happened, this theory played out in real. People were, lonely. They were more in need for companionship and hence for this oxytocin. People were not committing to relationships, whether marriage or, having a child at such uncertain times. So by design of this theory, people should have adopted more pets, and yes, they did. So that led us to believe, it's very difficult to think of a category in a particular way, which you feel will happen in future, and it happens in front of you. It gets very tempting to not pursue it. That gave us the green signal that this category is going to really grow, and hence, we jumped into this category and thought about building Supertails.
So one was the human need that you elaborated right now, but other is the market dynamics.
Yeah.
And what made you, again, the same question, if you have to answer it from the market dynamics perspective or the opportunity perspective,
Yeah.
how big or how big the opportunity is this pet segment in India?
So interestingly, about a decade back, India would have had less than 20 million pets. When we entered COVID, we were at about a little less than 30 million pets. This is only domesticated animals. There is an equal number of pets or equal number of community animals when it comes to dogs and cats. So India overall had about 60 million animals, and with adoption becoming more adoption of community animals becoming more and more widespread, it became a factor as well. But what was interesting was that, just pre-COVID, India would have been at, around 8 to 10% household penetration, where so every, 1 out of 10 houses would have had pets. But there were some pockets in which this was, above 14%, 15%, etc. Now, heuristically, this is the penetration of any category after which the peer network effect starts to come in, which is like saying, I will have a bike because my friend has a bike. There's so much talk about, your all your friends are getting married. Why don't you get married? So that peer pressure and network effect starts to come in when any category hits a 14-15% penetration. And after this, the growth is like a hockey stick and exponential. So with that in mind, we were very, very sure that this category is going to grow. And it is reflecting in itself now. Now we have more than 40 million domesticated pets. The category is in the range of about 1.2 to 1.5 billion dollars. And this is even after when the packaged food, which is one of the large elements of this category, is only 7-8% penetrated in the country, which means more than 90% of the Indian pet parents are giving home cooked food. Now, imagine with that small base, if there is migration from home cooked food to packaged food, which the newer pet parents who are adopting pets recently are doing more. The category growth is going to be further exponential. So while on one side there is more adoption, on one side there is penetration of packaged food and other premiums categories as well.
Vinith, you are operating in a very niche competitive space. How are you differentiating Supertails from the competition?
So I think we got this insight from India, that in India the pet care landscape is very different from other countries where pet category is quite evolved. So in India, 95% of the pet parents are first time pet parents. They have never had a pet before in their life. Whereas if you go to US, Europe, more than 85% of them are second or third time pet parents. So there, our Indian pet parents' needs are going to be very different. When a pet comes home, there is no concept of a grandmother or a chachi nani tai who is able to give the wisdom when it comes to handling a new life. In this case, the information gap is very, very high. So when we said we will build Supertails, we will build to address the needs of this first time pet parents. So we not just solve for the transactional needs in the form of products and food and accessories, etc., but we solve for their hand holding as well when they enter pet parenthood. Which is why we have services such as online vet consultations. Healthcare is not easily accessible in this category. We also have the online behavior consultations, which is training, which is very similar to education when it comes to human kids. So we are not just a platform who's only doing transactions with the customer. We are differentiated because we are solving for this information gap and hand holding the pet parent in their pet parenthood journey, unlike some of the other players in the category.
So when you handhold a pet parent, I will just step one or two steps backwards and think aloud. Uh, how did you market yourself? Because how old is this company?
About 3 years old, less than
3 years old, and you have made a decent name within 3 years as a brand in the pet food category. But how did you start? I want to know, what were the marketing initiatives that you took? Because you may not be having the kind of ATL, BTL budgets that the corporates and conglomerates have. Having said that, you did speak about community on customer handholding. So take us through that journey of how did you launch yourself and then spread it across the country.
Yeah. So we understood that a veterinary doctor in this space is the center of pet care. He or she is a position of authority whom the pet parent listens to or abides to whatever directions or recommendations that we have. So what we did was we actually made them our influencers. We did not, spend as much money on influencers who are only advocating the brand, but can my veterinary doctors who are on my roles, full time work with Supertails, become my influencers. So when a customer, places a first order, we have a concept called a pet relationship manager. This pet relationship manager is himself or herself a pet parent, and they call this pet this new customer, and they ask them about how that they taking care of the pet. They break the ice, they ask the name, etc. And there is a 95% chance that they are first time pet parents and are struggling with some aspect of pet parenthood. Immediately the call is connected to our in-house veterinary doctors, and then a pro bono conversation, consultation happens between the pet and the pet parent. When you do these kind of things, there is a lot of word of mouth that travels, and you not just need to spend to reach people, but if you're doing some good work and actually solving real problems of a pet parent loves to talk about their pet to other pet parents, and hence the word of mouth and the organic growth in the community really increases. And we saw that help us or really boost us in the initial days when we were launching. Obviously, we were not working with very hefty budgets, and all this kind of word of mouth helps a lot. So our approach of solving through healthcare, making vet the hero, and solving real problems of the pet parent led to a decent word of mouth growth.
Decent word of mouth growth. Uh, During this phase, or maybe in and around this phase, what were the impediments that you faced? What were the challenges that you faced, and how did you overcome at this stage of your launch?
In the beginning, see, I think what the challenge was that we did not want to, use any shortcuts or any uh, subpar experience when it comes to, delivering any form of consultation, advice, whether delivery experience, etc. So obviously, that challenge is always within yourself, wherein you will have to, optimize between growth and, getting it 10x better. But I think we always took the right calls. We said if we will keep the inputs right, we will give a superlative experience. For example, we have done more than 1 lakh consultation and still our ratings stand at 4.92 out of 5. Now that holds for the bar that we kept for any interaction with the customer. Now that builds so much trust and reliability that the customer will come back to me even if I'm not doing, let's say, something right in my initial phases when it comes to a delayed order or a wrong product and things like that. They will still forgive me for it as compared to some in other brand, because I have solved a higher order problem in their life. And we have always believed that. So the challenge was that it will slow down us, and that's a conscious call we took. And we said we will get the right pet parent who's involved. We will give them the right advice. I think growth is going to be coincidental and not, something that we need to chase.
So if you have to sum up those reasons of high approval rate or high NPS, what would be those two, three, four pillars that made you get this high ratings?
I think immense customer love, immense obsession about the customer, and which results in customer love. So we have a world-class NPS excess of 75. We have a 4.92 out of 5 consultation rating, amazing retention numbers. All of those, come from uh, not doing anything with the pet that you would not, as a customer, that you would not do to your own pet. And that's how we've built the culture at the organization, that any problem of the pet parent or the pet has to be kept foremost. It's an emotional category that becomes a second pillar, which means you need to relate to the pet parent. You need to strike a right chord. So we do so much of personalized gifting. Every customer from ours gets a personalized pet tag free of cost, wherein their phone number and the pet's name is on the tag, which they can wear, in case the pet is lost because of any unfortunate event. So it's a style statement, it's an emotional connect, as well as a functional, tool. So you need to be able to connect and strike a chord with the pet parent, which gave us the one more large lever of growth. And the third is being obsessed about the quality of service. You can't in this category, which is highly emotional and involved, you customer won't forgive you, a pet parent won't forgive you if you make a mistake.
Absolutely. Highly emotional and highly involved parent. He will
Yes.
never forgive you. When it coming to the food product. You have got a brand known as Henlo
Yes.
in your umbrella. How does it compete with bigger players which are also there on your platform?
Yeah.
And what value does Henlo add to the overall Supertails portfolio?
So obviously when we was talking to the customers through our consultations, we got this insight that some pet parents do not prefer to give packaged food because they feel home cooked food is more nutritional, it is fresh, it is made immediately. So then we understood the process of other packaged foods when it comes to nutrition. Most of them were imported. They were made at high temperature and pressure, and they had certain of them had inputs which were not human grade, so leftovers of the meat industry and things like that. So we said there is a need for a made in India human grade food, which has a process which ensures nutrition is retained. So our product is oven baked and not extruded at high temperature or pressure. Our product also, we also got a great insight that most people do not like packaged pet food because it doesn't smell great. And because that food doesn't smell great, when the pet eats, the house smells bad because of the perspiration of the animal as well. So we said because we'll put in the right inputs in the form of ingredients, so human grade chicken, human grade vegetables, etc. We and no leftovers from any other industry. The output is going to be good as well. In fact, we claim that it is the most pleasant olfactory food when it comes to pets. So it's palatable to pets, but not offensive smelling to humans. So that gave the philosophy of birth to Henlo. Right now, we are only into the dog dry food category. Obviously, we intend to launch other categories like cat dry food, treats, etc. in the coming quarter. Today, it is, while it is just 1 year old into the system, it is more than 5% of our business already.
Another concept that you have, Vinith, is the concept of pet-friendly villas. Tell us something more about this concept and the business model behind your pet-friendly villas. And how do you see this initiative enhancing your customer base and overall value proposition?
So it's not an initiative that we have ourselves directly worked upon. It's a partnership of sorts that we are
Okay.
working with a company called Stay Vista. So Stay Vista has premium villas across the country wherein people can spend their getaways, vacations, or even for long-term stays. Interestingly, we found out that most of their villas were pet friendly. So we felt that it is a great collaboration wherein we come together. So anybody who's coming with a pet at their villas, we enable giving the supplies, the bowls, the essentials that the pet parent needs in travel. Sometimes you always forget things are not and do not. And with kids, as is the same with pets, you can't miss out on things, and then you can have a bad living experience there. So that's how we have partnered together, because the customer base is very has commonality. It is involved. There is a spending power, and because they have pet-friendly villas as USPs, so it calls for a great collaboration, and we're working together on the same.
Good. Now let's come to the growth strategy part. Vinith, you have a nationwide network of vets. Uh, so what are your plans? So at current stage, where are you? Where are all the Supertails product available? As of now, I think it's digitally. So if you can share some uh, idea about how your operations are currently managed, and then we come to the other growth part of it. How do you plan to grow from a digital to the physical part of retail?
So I'll just tell, interestingly, we have more than a 2 lakh customer base that we've built over the last 3 years. Our base is spread between metros and non-metros as well. So about 40% of our business comes from non-metros, which clearly shows that pet adoption is a phenomenon across the country. We have a pan-India delivery network. We serve more than 20,000 pin codes. In fact, there are about 75 cities in the country in which we deliver same day or next day. So we have, built an efficient and fast supply chain. In pet food, people tend to at times forget when they're pouring their last meal for the dog, they realize that the packet is over. And which is where we feel that the faster delivery is important in this category. In fact, in Bangalore, a couple of months back, we have even launched 120 minutes delivery. In pet category, nobody has talked about hours or minutes. It has always been days and weeks. So we're building a very, very fast supply chain to cater to this. So we look at it as a growth lever as well. Um, the idea is simple that we will have a base platform which will take care of these three primary needs, and we will keep building Lego blocks on top of that. For in example, we launched our e-pharmacy about 6 months back because we are already writing prescriptions. Today, more than 15% of the orders have pharmacy attached to it. Now that's a growth lever. You will not find a pet pharmacy, very easily as a human pharmacy. But if healthcare is a problem, then yeah, pets need medicines as well. We deliver these medicines again in 2 hours in Bangalore and same day, next day in a lot of cities as well. This becomes a growth lever. We found out that nutrition has a gap, so we built Henlo. We found out that in accessories, there is a gap of affordable quality products made in India. We built our in-house brand called Skaters, which just got launched a couple of months back. So these are just building blocks that are going to provide the levers of growth. There will be a lot of pet parents' needs which we will not be able to fulfill online. And hence the need to go offline becomes imminent because I have an acquisition engine, I have a retention engine through my vets online, but I need to be able to solve more to be able to lock them into the Supertails ecosystem. So things like vaccinations, physical examination, diagnostics, and some form of simple procedures as well are needs which I cannot solve for. Additionally, grooming is a very growing category which can't be done online. So in the offline world, we would not be just opening a store and selling products because that we can deliver in 2 hours even while being online. So I don't need a store for that. But what we'll be doing is we'll be going healthcare first. So the store will be a pet care center slash clinic built around a vet, wherein we'll be giving these services in the physical form, and again giving high quality experience to the pets when they walk in, so as to further build on the trust that we have been able to establish in our online healthcare piece.
This would include grooming services as well.
Yeah. So that pet care center would be centered around the healthcare services, would also have grooming services, and will have the pharmacy as well as the supply section built into it.
So it becomes a one-stop shop for your pet.
Yes, that's the idea. And we would be starting with Bangalore very soon, launching a couple of clinics over there in the next few months.
This is the last business question is uh, about vitamin M, and that is the funding part.
Yeah.
You have been quite lucky to get a lot of investments in your brand. How easy it was or how difficult?
So we've been fortunate that the interest in this category has been, quite spectacular. So even when we had just formulated a concept around this back in 2021, we got, three of the best funds in the country, partner with us. So at that point in time, we had Sama, DSG, Sauce coming together. We also got joined by Whiteboard and Titan. In fact, even Deepika Padukone's family office joined us in that journey. Then itself, as we grew, I think we started to get the product market fit right. The category was always growing. So which is why the investor interest continued to remain, and we got backed by one of the most respected funds in the country called Fireside, which came in in the Series A round. And the recent round we have concluded, we have got the RPSG Ventures from the Goenka Group also joining us. In a way, because the growth is there, so that part of the investment thesis gets taken care of. I think with the investors getting a little bit more about the future eventuality of unit economics and profitability in the last couple of years. It does pose a challenge to some extent, because you have to be able to prove how will the business make money in the future to get any form of investments. And I think we've been able to demonstrate that through our metrics, and hence we were able to sail through.
Excellent, Vineet. Now we'll go to the final round, and that's the rapid fire round, Vineet. I have a couple of questions for you. What's the one pet care trend that excites you the most right now?
Cats, growth in cats.
Growth in cats.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's growing much, much faster than dogs. Apartments are getting smaller. People want a little more hassle-free pets. Cats are growing crazy.
Dogs or cats, which animal do you have at your home?
I have a dog. I have a lab and Indie cross. His name is Satchmo.
Good. What's your favorite success story from a customer using Supertails?
Multiples of them. I remember one wherein we had delayed an order, and somebody was calling our delight center, and the delight executive felt that it is not right because the food was over at in the customer's place, and the customer went, the delight center agent went out of the way and said, wait, I will dunzo a packet from competition store right to you in the next 30 minutes, and this would be free of cost for you because we have delayed. Now this is the kind of culture we try to build in the organization, that there will be misses. It's about how you are able to come in the customer's shoes and give an experience which they will remember for life.
Excellent. Share a quirky fact about one of the Supertails co-founders.
Uh, Quirky one. This is a tricky one. Actually, I can talk about myself. I am ambidextrous.
You are ambidextrous. Good. What would you consider the holy grail of pet care innovation?
Customer love, nothing else. I think this is a category built on love and trust. So you can't go wrong with any form of experience. You do that, even if you're not the best priced, even if you make a few mistakes, transactional mistakes, people will forgive you and they will love you for the rest of their life.
So last question about Supertails, Vineet, is where do you see Supertails 5 years down the line?
I think the vision is to build its, make it become synonymous with pet care. So whenever a pet parent thinks of getting a pet home, I think Supertails should resonate in their mind. That's the vision. It is going to be an ecosystem play. It is not going to be built in parts. It is going to be built as, a sum of things wherein right from the first day of the pet at home to eventually with the pet is no more, we should be solving the entire horizon of pet care, and only then we'll make a mark wherein we will say yes, we've become maybe made a significant contribution to pet care in the country.
Thank you very much, Vineet Khanna, co-founder Supertails. It was a pleasure, hearing you, and we can see the passion that you have for pets. That's obvious in the business performance of Supertails as well. Thank you for sharing your insights. Apologies. It was pleasure having you on D2C Dialogues here today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Hitesh, and the entire team at RAI. It was a pleasure interacting with all of you.
Nice.